The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I've read this book multiple times now, and I gotta say that it's probably one of my top 3 books, and I honestly highly recommend anybody reading this book. And in this book, it paints a beautiful picture of how life is not all about money, notoriety, career advancement, all the things that we chase but never ultimately really get fulfilled by. But before I start the video, do me a favor. I'm new at this YouTube thing, this content creating, public speaking thing. So as a favor to me, if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share any feedback, whether it's good or bad. I want to make sure that I'm adding value to you and not just talking out of my ass, because then I'm just doing nothing for nothing. I want to make sure that I'm adding value to you, the viewer. So that being said, this book, it's about a hotshot lawyer named Julian who has all the money, all the notoriety that a lawyer at his position could have and desire. Many of us will desire. But at the pinnacle of his career, while he's at work, of course, he suffers a stroke. And the stroke doesn't kill him, but it forces him to put into perspective his life, forcing him to ask himself, what is really important to me? Now, Julian does the unthinkable next. At least I thought it was unthinkable. He leaves his career behind, sells his mansion, sells his beloved Ferrari, hence the title of the book, and says goodbye to the lifestyle that he once chased. Why? To find himself. How? By traveling to the Himalayan mountains, in Nepal, and doing some self-discovery. In his quest to find himself, he finds a village of sacred monks high up in the mountains. And these monks, they take Julian in and they teach him their way of living. They teach him their 6 stages of Nirvana, as they called it. Now, after he spends some time with them and learning their customs, their ways, finding himself, regaining his health, understanding his purpose in life, he goes back to where he was from to share his changing experience, his life-changing experience. And he starts spreading his message and living out his new life's purpose of helping others walk intentionally and not wasting life's precious moments. Real quick, guys, I hope that you're enjoying the video. I wanted to take a quick moment to share something exciting with you. Are you looking to unlock your potential and take your personal or your professional life to the next level? Well, I'm offering a free 30-minute coaching discovery session just for you. Take this great opportunity to get personalized guidance, ask any questions that you have about coaching, and see how we can help work together to achieve your goals. To redeem your free session, simply click the link in the description below and schedule a time that works best for you. Don't miss this opportunity, this chance to start on your journey toward a more fulfilling and successful life. I look forward to meeting you and helping you achieve your dreams. Now let's get back to the video. You see, I'm not sharing this book, nor is it one of my favorite books because I'm a Buddhist, but because it's had a profound impact on my life. I've always felt like one of the strengths in my life has been listening to those that came before me. Both the men and the women I know personally and have talked to myself, but also the countless people who I've heard through videos, movies, speaking on books, on speaking on their life experiences and what they would have done differently or wish they had known when they were young. You see, if enough people say to parents, enjoy your kids while they're young, or if enough wealthy people say, money means nothing if you have bad health and you have no one to share it with. Or if a multi-millionaire like Paul or Flala, I think I pronounced that right, he's the founder of Kinko's. I remember watching an interview where he was asked, what is your definition of success? And his definition, he said, my real definition of success is when your kids grow up and they still want to come back and spend time with you. That was his definition. Or when countless elderly people will say to you, take care of your bodies when you're young. Or when they say that my biggest regret in life is sticking to comfort and not starting that business that I wanted to when I was young. We need to pay attention to that. We have to start taking that wisdom, dissecting it into knowledge, and apply it so that it can become the wisdom that we need in our lives. Because remember, wisdom is knowledge applied. Just because we receive wisdom from somebody else doesn't mean that it's automatically wisdom for us. Wisdom gets translated in the form of knowledge, but then it stays information unless we actually put it to use. I remember when I was 21 years old And I had been married for about, I think, a year and a half at this point. And I had saved up $15,000. My wife and I were living in her parents' basement. And we had started looking at some townhouses to purchase, to take our marriage and our life to the next step that we thought was necessary. Get our own privacy, give the privacy back to my in-laws. But I also had the desire to start my first business. So I was kind of torn between the two. Do I spend the money for a down payment, or do I spend the money and invest into the first business? And I'm 21 at this point. And I could just remember thinking to myself, the countless times that I had heard, whether it was through a book, a movie, somebody I knew, that I had heard through somebody else, that they would always say the cliche thing of, I don't want to look back when I'm 70 years old and think to myself, what could have been, what should have been, what if I had. I also thought to myself, I'd rather try and fail and lose out on $15,000 than to not try and always wonder, what if? How many times have we reached that point in life and say, man, what if I had stuck to that just a little bit longer? What if I had persevered? What if I had stayed consistent? How many of us have gone to the gym for 1 month and said, yeah, I'm happy, and then all of a sudden it fell off? And then you think later on, a year later, and you're like, I wish I had just freaking kept with it for that whole year. I'd be jacked by now. I'd be beach body ready. Long story short, my wife and I decided to take that money and invest it into our barbershop, my first business. And the rest is history. It did require sacrifice of more time with living with her parents, and also putting my head down for a few more years and grinding it out. But I could honestly say that one decision of that investment, I can say that it was probably one of the single-handedly most important decisions, one of the best decisions that I had ever made. Not only because the business turned out to be successful, but because it gave me that mindset of being able to not look fear directly in the eyes and shuddering and being scared, but rather looking at fear and being courageous enough to continue to move forward. And that's something that I'll forever have, that mindset. And I can pass that on to my kids as well. Ultimately, I want to share and leave you with this, that you can reach 70 years old and hopefully you still have good health and a family that loves you and wants to spend time with you. But imagine you get there at 70 years old, only to realize that you ran the wrong race. Why? Because you chase success by the way the world deems and defines success to look like, and not by your own measures, not by the reason for your purpose, the reason for which you were created. You don't have to have a stroke to finally wake up and realize. And you don't have to decide to define what success will look like for you, both in the now and in the future. This way you can look back at your life when you're 70 and say, thank God that I knew what my purpose was. Why? Because it allowed you to live a life, hopefully rich financially, yes, but more importantly, rich in health, rich in experiences, rich in relationships, and rich with purpose. And you've been able to give way more to this world than you received. That's one of the best things that you can leave this life with. That's what I want to live. A life full of purpose, so that I know that every day that I wake up, I have intentionality behind every step, behind every decision. So that way when those difficult days arise, I can look fear directly in the eyes and continue to move forward. If you got something out of this and you too want to live a life on purpose, for purpose, subscribe to the channel, show your support, redeem your free coaching session, and remember, on purpose, for purpose. That's what you were created for. I'll see you guys on the next one.